So you're looking for an all-wheel drive EV, and you could spend $140,000 on one with gull-wing doors, or you could spend $65,000 and get a 7-seater, 3-row, all-electric, all-wheel drive SUV with a lot of space in the third row too.
Absolutely.
Hey everyone, my name's Gabi.
I'm Tim.
And this is the 2026 Kia EV9. And there are changes for the 2026 model year. There's only 2 real major ones, and I will talk about it in today's in-depth walkthrough. But we'll first start off with everything else you need to know about this vehicle. If this is your first time researching this car, I promise you we'll talk about everything. The powertrain, the specs, the interior comforts, the technology, the safety, every single thing you need to know. We'll talk about it, and that's why this video is going to be a long one. Tim, you're here for the ride, but you're the cameraman today, right?
Yes, unfortunately I am.
Okay, first things first, I'm going to start off with asking you, what is your favorite 3-row all-electric EV?
This is the only one available in the world.
For under $100,000, that is.
For under $100,000.
Now,
yes.
That is going to be only for a short while longer because the Kia, or the Hyundai equivalent to this vehicle, the Ioniq 9, will shortly be released. However, that one will be a tad bit more expensive. All right, you guys, but that's enough jibber-jabber. Let's get into the actual vehicle, starting off with the front end.
Let's go.
This vehicle is priced at $64,900. Oh, that is not the right button, Tim.
Not the right button here. Top button.
Sorry, you guys.
Here we go, guys.
Got a nice close-up of Tim. So this vehicle is priced at $64,995 Canadian. And believe it or not, this isn't actually the introductory model. This vehicle starts close to the 60 grand mark. It's actually just underneath it. But if all-wheel drive is a must-have for you, you'd want to look at the Land all-wheel drive package. This is your introductory trim level to all-wheel drive. It's a dual motor system. So we got a motor on the front, a motor in the rear, and a total horsepower output of 379 with 516 pound-feet of torque to match that. It is a very powerful vehicle, but you're probably not buying this for its race car-like handling or its mega speed, although it is pretty quick. This vehicle handles fantastically. It has a very low center of gravity, and it has a lot of space. On the front end, one thing I really do like about the Kia EV9, and I'll try not to put my opinion in this video too much, is the fact that it's not boring looking. It doesn't have a completely flat, boring front end. You got these really bright and distinct LED daytime running lights. They're very bold and wide on this car, kind of lengthening and widening the hood. A lot of road presence over here. Your main headlamps will also be full LEDs, and that is standard on all trim levels of the Kia EV9. If you want to take things a little fancier, maybe get some new accents and style designs, when you upgrade to the Plus package, that is one above this, you actually have a digital lighting sequence in the front grille of this car that you can change. Pretty cool. There's a lot of customization on this vehicle, and because we have so many trim levels, I can guarantee you there'll be a trim level for you. A couple more things. I'll talk about safety now. We have forward-facing parking sensors on this car. So this little circular sensor, we actually have 4 of them on the front end, will give you some audible alerts inside the cabin to let you know when you're approaching something a bit too close. So let's say you're parking a large vehicle like this for the first time at a busy mall. You do not know how long this hood is. Your vehicle will help guide you to make sure you get the perfect parking spot. Couple more cool things, the fact that we have active air shutters. So they're closed right now, but as this vehicle's in drive, these will actually open to allow air to flow into your vehicle to help with cooling. The aerodynamics on this vehicle are also very impressive. It actually has the same drag coefficient as a C8 Corvette. Pretty cool, because this looks like a rectangle on wheels. You would not expect that. All right, coming up above, let's talk about the Frunk. A lot of people like to measure how cool or how amazing a vehicle is from the Frunk space. Well, you might be a little bit unimpressed with our Frunk over here, but that's okay. We got a lot of space in the trunk. There is still a good amount of room here, though. If you'd like to put your level 1 charger in here or a first aid kit, that kind of thing, there's certainly more than enough space. And you actually have an emergency release. So from where Tim's standing, you can't see it, but it is right over here.
Have you ever got inside that?
I don't think I would fit in there.
What about Mike?
Do you want to try fitting in there, Tim?
We could probably put Mike in there.
All right, I'm going to close this up. It is hydraulic, of course. I would expect nothing less at a vehicle at this price point. And you guys, if the Frunks are not hydraulic and any of the other EVs over $100,000, I would be very, very impressed. All right, I'm sure they are. Oh, there we go. This paint color is called Panthera Metal. It's a nice dark metallic gray. One thing I love about our metallics here at Kia is the fact that if you drive into the sunlight, you see such beautiful depth and sparkle in the paint. It truly is dynamic. Because our camera quality is so bad, though, you won't see it in today's video. Surrounding your wheels, you do have a black plastic wheel arch. Now on select trim levels, this will actually be finished with a nice high gloss black touch, so things like the GT line if you'd like a little bit more of a styled front or exterior look. Your wheels. Your wheels are funky. These are 19-inch alloys. Now the wheels on EVs are typically a little strange, but this puts the fun in functional because not only do they look a little different, they're actually built with purpose. So they are aerodynamic wheels, believe it or not, and they allow air to channel through your vehicle's wheels a lot easier. So it's going to minimize air resistance and maximize the airflow. That helps you with range, of course, and the aerodynamics on your vehicle. On the topic of range, this vehicle is rated for 455 kilometers of all-electric range. That, of course, is the rating, so based off your driving habits and the temperature where you are, you could see that do a lot better or a lot worse. It's hard when you first get an EV, especially if you are someone who likes speed or has a heavy foot, because there's so much instant torque on this vehicle, you can get a little carried away. But again, if you tailor your driving habits, you can get a whole lot more out of this car. On the all-wheel drive system, it does have a rear-wheel drive bias, so that again will help with efficiency. There's also things like eco mode and terrain modes in this vehicle that will tailor the all-wheel drive torque distribution, but also the throttle response based off your select drive mode. If you want a little bit more of an aggressive throttle response feel, you'd really love sport mode, but if range is all that you're after, eco mode is your best friend. Tim, thoughts on the wheels? Be honest.
You know, when we talk about drag coefficient, you're exactly right. Do I love them? No.
They're not the prettiest.
But they're not the prettiest, but at the same time, hey, we all want range, right?
Yeah.
So how do we get range? And you said different drive modes. Eco mode makes a difference. But having a heavy foot, you'll wear out tires pretty quick.
Yes, so again,
right, with the torque.
We like to tell our customers, it's fun, but try to limit it a little bit.
Yeah,
Eco
exactly
mode
right.
will be your friend.
Yes.
All right, we'll work our way up and talk about a couple more safety functions and the windshield on this car. So regardless of the trim level, you're gonna get a lot standard, and that includes an acoustic laminated windshield with a camera in the very center. The camera does a whole lot for this car. I'm gonna list it all off and briefly explain them. If it sounds like I'm saying nonsense, I promise we've done videos explaining what each of these safety functions do. So we got lane keep assist, keeps you centered in your lane, warns you if you're about to depart from it. We got lane follow assist, again, reads the lanes ahead of you, but instead of beeping at you or swerving you around to make sure you're centered, it sees what's upcoming and plans for it to steer you and guide you throughout the lane sequence. Then we got forward collision avoidance assist. Kind of like what the name implies, it senses the risk of a collision, warns you, and then hits the brakes for you to avoid said collision. That works with pedestrians, vehicles, and cyclists. You also get smart cruise control that will set you or allow you to set the speed and the distance from the car ahead of you, and highway drive assist level 2. Same thing as smart cruise control, except it has navigation data, so it knows the speed limit of the highway that you're on, and it will change lanes for you provided you keep your hands on the wheel. So it's not a full self-drive, it's not gonna read your stop signs or make full right or left turns, but it will do a lot for you. For your mirrors, they are power folding, they're heated and electronically controlled with an LED turn signal indicator and blind spot detection. On select trim levels, if you want more bells and whistles, you can also get a blind view monitoring camera and a full 360-degree camera. Your door handles, on the topic of aerodynamics, when the vehicle is driving, they will sit flush with the car to minimize that resistance, but they will pop out when the vehicle is unlocked. So you'll always know if your car is unlocked or locked just by looking at the handles. You also get digital key entry, so that allows you to unlock, start, and drive your car simply from your smartphone. If you don't want to use that though, that is okay. You still get convenience entry, so simply walk up to your car, put your hand by the handle, it'll pop out for you to allow you in, and when you're done driving your car, press on this little indent here to lock it and it'll go flush again. All right, the pillars of the car, we get a couple black accents, so it's a high gloss black, also the same for your window trim. You will also get these nice silver roof rails that is going to start on the all-wheel drive model, so what we have showcased here today. Same thing with your mud flaps. If that was a deal breaker for you, it starts on the all-wheel drive trim. Coming along to the charge door. So the charge door has remained on the same side for the 2026 model year. However, we have a new charge port. So we now are working with the NACS, or North American Charging Standard port. Charge times are the same, but now we have a whole new world of charging opportunities. Again, I said charge times are the same. If you are planning on DC fast charging this vehicle, it does have 800 volt charging infrastructure, or architecture, I should say. Something that the Tesla Model X, the Rivian, the Volvo, all those vehicles with 3 rows that are over $100,000 don't have, getting it in the Kia. So that means you can go from 10 to 80% in as little as 24 minutes on a 350 kilowatt charger. I know those are pretty few and far between, but you still have very fast charging times on your regular 150 or 50 kilowatt charger. If you are home charging this vehicle, like a lot of people will be doing, a 240 volts will give you a charge from 10 to 100% in just under 9 hours. I believe it's 8 hours and 45 minutes. And then if you're level 3 charging, not exactly as common, but is very, very easy to come by, you do have a level 1 charger included with purchase on the vehicle. So you'll find it in this nice Kia bag. And I hope, oh, it is covered in styrofoam.
Yeah.
But we do have just a regular household outlet. So if you got electricity in your home, you will find a place to charge this car. It's a regular 3-prong outlet. It's going to charge horribly slow, but it's an option. Great if you are going away somewhere for a long weekend and they don't have a proper EV charger. You can plug it in, enjoy your stay over the next couple days, and then leave with a fully charged vehicle. All right, space-wise, again, another thing that the EV9 does fantastic is the fact that we have 3 rows of seating, but we have a very good amount of space behind the 3rd row. And we have 3rd row seats that adults can sit in. I'll show you guys that later. So these rear 2 seats, they fold individually. They are manual to fold to. On higher trims, you can have the powered option. So you'll pull this tether here, it'll knock the headrest down, and then you'll give it a push, and it goes completely flat. Each of these seats also have top car seat tethers and rear anchors. On the right-hand side, we have a vehicle to load charge port, or not charge port, unit.
Unit, yeah.
So this vehicle actually allows bidirectional charging in 2 different spots. Number 1 is using your actual charge door. So again, a thing that I believe only the Volvo competitor has to offer, because I know Tesla doesn't do it right now. You can bidirectionally charge other things. So whether that be a vehicle, plug in a TV, whatever you want to do, you can do it. Plug it in and draw power from your vehicle's high voltage battery. Pretty cool. Again, on the right-hand side, there are 2 separate buttons to fold down the 2nd row seats, so the left-hand side and the right-hand side. This vehicle does not have a temporary spare tire, but you do have a temporary mobility kit. So this is essentially an inflator kit with a sealant. If you pick up a nail or screw when you have a slight leak, it'll kind of plug the hole until you can get a proper tire repair or replacement. You also get a power lift gate. I believe this was already open, so you didn't get to see it in action, but I'll quickly show you some of the functions. If you'd like to change,
excuse me.
Ew! If you'd like to change the height of the adjustment, all you gotta do is manually move it, press and hold the liftgate button until it beeps, and then that'll be your new preset height. Great, again, if you are working with a tighter garage area and don't wanna, hit it pretty straight up. We'll close this. There's also a quick glimpse at the LED license plate lights. I hate seeing a car that has all the latest and greatest technology and then you see orangey lights for your license plates. Come on, guys, we got full LEDs all around. Speaking of your tail lamps, very cool design, vertical, bold, bright LED, and the same is true for your high-mounted stop lamp. Your vehicle also has a bit of a more extended spoiler, and that spoiler houses your rear wiper. So yes, this is a Kia EV with a rear wiper. I know we don't have a lot of those, but this one does have one. Very easy to use and very easy to love because you'll never have to pick snow and ice off your rear wiper again. There's also a rear parking sensor, so just like what we saw up at the front, when you're reversing this vehicle, you will get audible feedback to let you know if you're getting too close to something. There's also a very high definition backup camera with parking guidelines, so those orange and yellow lines that'll let you know where your rear wheels and front wheels will end up. All right, shall we hop inside, Tim?
Sounds good.
So I mentioned horsepower, I mentioned torque, I mentioned range. Is there any specs I may have not told you guys, because I feel like we're probably already at the 15-minute mark and I'm already starting to forget what I talked about. If there's something you'd like to know before this video ends, let us know in the comments or the live chat if you are watching this in person or in real time. I'm gonna open the door and let Tim get a quick peek inside before I hop in. Both front seats, so driver and passenger, will be powered with 2-way lumbar support. You also have a very nice cushioned headrest. So believe me, that feels fantastic, especially, I don't know if you guys deal with this, but if you have your hair in a ponytail or something like that, it just forms to your head a little bit better. That might be a bit more of a niche problem, but hey, it's still a problem. You also get heated and ventilated seats up at the front for, again, both driver and passenger with 2 different levels of heat for your steering wheel. The door itself features a lot of your typical functions. So you got your left and right mirror control, as well as a power folding button. There's also your lock and unlock, your window controls. Each of the windows on this vehicle is an express window. I understand some people, depending on where you live, you might not call it an express window. It might be a one-touch window. Pretty much, you press it, it goes down all the way, and if you want to stop it at any point, you just hit it again. Very, very convenient, especially when you want to drop all the windows at the same time. Your sound system is just our regular in-house sound system, but we do have a Meridian option in our higher trim levels. There's a bottle holder on the door, and the door itself is a two-tone finish. So you got a lighter gray, a darker gray that's almost black, and some nice graphite design too. So almost a, gunmetal you call it? Mm-hmm. That's the technical term we're looking for. The left-hand side, so right in reach of the driver, you got your charge door opener, your frunk release, your trunk release, traction control, electronic parking brake, and a brightness adjustment. And believe me, you will be thankful that the brightness adjustment is so easy to reach because you don't have to dig through screens to find it. Speaking of screens, there's a lot of them. Tim, do you want to join me? But I'll take the camera.
Grab the camera.
Oh. While Tim is walking over to the passenger side, we'll talk about the steering wheel. So the steering wheel itself is a very, very fun design. We have all of our driver assistance systems on the left-hand side, so your smart cruise control or highway drive assist, depending on if you're on the highway or in the city, as well as your speed control, plus and minus to increase or decrease, and then your following distance control. To the right of that, we have this button here that changes what you're viewing in your gauge cluster. The gauge cluster itself is 12.3 inches of fully digital real estate. You can view your all-wheel drive power distribution, as well as your compass or your navigation, depending on if you have a route set. There's also some great menus for your safety systems, what's active right now, and you can also check out things like your current trip. On the right-hand side, you can see that we have our current estimated range, or I guess the door open system, showing our maximum range and our minimum range depending on how I'm driving. I'm just going to scroll a little bit more. Sorry, back to our main menu. There we go. You can see your range guide again, another one, your tire pressure as well, so active tire pressure monitoring. And then we're right back to the top again. The right-hand side of the steering wheel is going to be more so convenience functions for audio. So if you'd like to use your voice commands, which will either be your phone's voice commands or your vehicle's voice commands, depending on if you have a phone connected, as well as your volume control, your phone, favorites button that you can preset to do what you'd like, and a mode to switch between your media modes. Below that, we have our drive and terrain modes. When you press this, it'll cycle between what drive modes you're in. My drive is customizable. And then you can see we got Eco, Normal, and Sport, each of which will change whether it's the preference of rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, but also the throttle response, handling, and the way the vehicle is generally operating. For terrain, there is snow, mud, and sand. Again, that will change your all-wheel drive torque distribution and your stability control to give you optimal traction in those conditions. Sorry, Tim, I'll keep this for a little while.
You got it.
Right in the center, this is another screen. It's a 5-inch display that is just for climate. So you can see we have a driver-only control as well as sync if I'd like to sync up both front climates. Just gonna turn that off real quick. We also have quick access to the rear. And this may seem like it's in a pretty awkward spot because it is. It's actually kind of in the way of the driver's steering wheel, but no, that is not a design flaw. They've actually included this little plus to be always in the line of vision for the driver. That way you can expand the screen to the main unit and easily change more. This is also more accessible for the passenger too. They can go and change what they would like to change. And we do have tri-zone climate control. So driver, passenger, and then tri-zone. You can lock the rear climate. That way if you have misbehaving kids that turn the heat on in the summer, you can just set the temp for them and not have them play around with it. But yeah, very useful climate control, and we have a third way to change it by incorporating real physical dials and buttons. So temperature control here, fan speed control here, or a quick way to shut it off, as well as your not drive mode, but fan mode. So this will change the direction of the fans. Volume control knob, super handy, and then hazard button. I will say, in an age where a lot of EVs simply have one screen in the very center, I'm specifically talking about a certain manufacturer, it's really, really nice to have the creature comforts that you can simply just reach and click on or off and not take your eyes off the road to find the certain screen where that's hidden. Another main huge benefit of the Kia and Hyundai product for EVs specifically is the way our regenerative braking is cycled in between. Truly, again, it is not in a screen, it's all on your steering wheel, because let's face it, it's the driver that's regenerative braking, or I guess it's the car, but it's the driver's business. So right behind your steering wheel, left and right mounted paddle shifters. The right one will decrease the amount of range, or regen I should say, and then the left hand will increase it. So you can go all the way up to I pedal, which is essentially one pedal driving. You take your foot off the accelerator, your vehicle comes to a complete stop, so it's a full force regen. You can bring it back down to 0 if you'd like, so just a true coasting experience where the vehicle is not giving you any resistance. Super easy to use, truly right where you need it. A couple more things I'll talk about before we talk about the space of the vehicle and the safety. We have more physical controls, so a home button, a map button, a search button, especially if this is your first new vehicle in a long time, the tech is overwhelming, this will be your best friend. A media button, another favorites button, and a setup button. So you do not have to find these in the screen. You can simply press it and it'll take you to, well, where you clicked. Underneath that, we have a bunch of different charging opportunities, so USB-Cs in this car, as well as one for data transfer. There's also a true 12 volt. A lot of space just below that because this is an EV and it's built on our EGMP, Electric Global Modular Platform. It's completely flat on the bottom, so there's so much real estate here to move stuff around and clear out some space. Above it, we have a floating center console. So 2 large cup holders, a little crack here for change or crumbs, whatever you want, and then a fingerprint scanning module. This is just an easy way to start your car and access your driver profile. So if you do have digital keys set up on your vehicle, hop in your car, scan your finger, it'll start up without your key, provided you've already set up the process, and it'll go into your driver profile. If you're saving your car or sharing your car with someone else, that way you don't have to fight over it. We also have a wireless phone charger, nicely placed, convenient, and a couple more buttons. So auto hold, downhill assist, our camera button, and our parking sensors to turn them on or off. There is a little center console, truly little, but again, keep in mind there is so much usable space around the vehicle, specifically underneath the console, so it's okay, I'll allow it. Tim, do you want to show the glove box?
Yeah, got it. Books are in there. It's quite deep. So the books are on the second layer, and then you've got slide-ins here as well. So good size.
And it's illuminated.
And it's illuminated so you can see at night.
Beauty. Well, how do you put this vehicle into drive? It is a column-mounted shift-by-wire gear shift. So, and this is also where our start button is. So it's kind of all where you need in one place. Super easy to use. Foot on the brake, tip it into drive, tip it into reverse, P for park. Let's check out the second row. And then we'll check out the third row. Just gonna move this here. All right, so this is one of the final few trim levels that have a bench seat in the second row. One trim above this will keep the bench. Everything above that will turn into captain's chairs, which could be a preference of yours or maybe not. These seats are extremely wide and very, very comfortable. Seriously, super comfortable. They still have a two-tone finish, so the insert itself is nice dark gray, and then we have an almost black, but I would still probably call this a dark gray above. In the very center, this middle seat drops down to be a cup holder and armrest, or you can retract it back and still have a pretty proper seat. This is not a very pinched or squished together seat. There's a lot of room. The best part, again, because this vehicle is completely flat in its platform, we have just the same amount of legroom as anyone else. So there's no hump in the very middle that you'd find on most all-wheel drive cars. The backs of the seats both have pockets. You also have USB-Cs built on to either side, and cup holders in the back of the center console. So I'll quickly show this. Check it out. And an easy access seat for the passenger. So if no one's sitting here and you have a bunch of people coming into the second row, you can adjust it for them without kind of going around your vehicle and changing things on the side. All right, I'm going to go into the third row. I'm trying to think of my method for doing so. Tim, do you want to show what you're pressing? So there's a button on the top there that allows the seat to go into its easy rear access mode. So it lifts the seat and folds it forward. Typically you'd be entering from the door and not how I'm doing it, but I'm gonna do it the hard way to show you guys the worst case scenario. I really hope I fit. Oh,
you fit.
We got more
There's
room.
lots of room.
Okay. So I've made things hard for myself by knocking this far seat down.
Back. Yeah.
But I will adjust it.
Yeah.
All right. So again, I'm working with the worst case scenario right now. And what I mean by that is I've gone ahead and moved this bench seat as far back as it can go. So this is quite literally the least amount of leg space you can have on this car. It gets only better from here. In terms of headroom, there is a ton of headroom because of how rectangular this vehicle is. The headroom is pretty consistent throughout the entire cabin. The seats themselves are going to be a little bit more raised from the second row seats, but I don't feel like I'm in a hunched position. And these back seats do also recline. So just to my side, there is a tether. I can't show you it, but believe me, it's there because there we go. I know I made that look real smooth. All right, I'm gonna grab that from you, Tim, just to show you some of the
I'm going to pull the seat up a bit.
third row convenience. So we get speakers back here, USB-Cs, and cup holders. There's also a little pocket here. Now, if you were to ask me if I was sitting in this back row, I would use this as a chicken nugget sauce compartment. All right, and then right over here, another flat. Tim, look at this. This is perfect for your sauce, your dipping sauces.
Yes.
It's not too deep, so there's no spillage or anything.
And it's not going to slide around.
Yeah, perfect. They knew what they were doing when they made this.
McChicken.
McChicken, French fries, whatever you
Anything you want.
I'll have it all. And then the same is repeated on the other side of the vehicle. There's also these little storage compartments on the side for whatever things you find yourself having. Now Tim has gone ahead and moved my seat, or the second row seats, forward a little bit, and you can tell we have a lot more legroom to work with. I no longer feel like I'm cramped back here. I mentioned
and there's
this.
Still lots of room in the front part of it.
You guys, I wasn't being snippy earlier on in the video when I said this is a 3-row SUV that actually has room for adults back here. It does. Look at it. Headroom, legroom, room around me. Because we only have 2 seats back here and they didn't try to squish in a third one, I actually feel like I have my own seat and I'm not spilling over into the person next to me. So it is truly comfortable. The rear windows back here also deserve a shout out because look how wide they are. It kind of sucks sitting in the third row of most vehicles because you probably only have a window like that, if anything. So you can actually still enjoy the road trip and not feel like you're confined. 10 out of 10, not bad. 10 out of 10, fantastic. All right, question time?
Yep, question
It's
time.
okay, Tim, I don't need help. Look at all the space. I fall down.
Yeah, wipe out in your head.
Okay, so easy, you can do it in heels.
Oh,
all right,
got it?
Let's answer some questions.
The lights on.
Yeah, but Gabi is like a small child, so sure you did it. Actually, I'm 5'4". I measured myself recently, and I'm wearing 3-inch heels. So, what? I'm tall now.
Michael, yeah, you're taller.
Michael is like a small child.
Michael's like a small child. Say hey, Mike. See?
This is my sister.
The nice part about it is Michael wears Gabi's clothes.
Oh my God.
Which is even better. See?
Please say the price. So this specific
Yes.
trim level is the Land all-wheel drive. It's priced at $64,995. It is worth mentioning that these prices are before taxes and fees, so your typical freight and air, HST, that kind of thing, or if you get any accessories. Now, with that being said, all of the other 3-row all-wheel drive SUVs are well over $100,000, and we are well below that price point. Well below. Anything you'd like to add, Tim?
No, I think that if this is on your shopping list and you've considered all the big SUVs and obviously trying to get to an EV, this is a good consideration versus some of our other friends that are out there.
This is the only one I would.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
I work at Kia, but forget all that. This is the only. No way I'm spending over $100,000
Well,
on.
we think about Telluride, but we also talk about Escalade. We also talk about Tahoe, Yukons, Ford Expedition Max. When you talk about some of these vehicles that are out there, first of all, fuel economy. Thank goodness fuel prices are down.
Yes.
Don't know how long that'll happen, but EVs, and we talk about the difference in what it costs to fill up a tank
Versus
on
how
a weekly basis versus what it costs you to plug this car in on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting information that we can give you as well.
And realistically, it's not like this is an affordable vehicle. Almost $70,000
expensive.
is still expensive. Believe me, I live here too. I get it. It's expensive. But when you're comparing it, if you're specifically shopping for an EV and it needs to have 3 rows, this is a lot cheaper than $100,000. A lot cheaper.
Well, I think if you're used to buying a vehicle over 84 months or 96 months, consider this over 36 months or 48-month lease. Just like your phones, technology gets better, you trade the car back in, you hand the car back in, and get the next best technology that's out there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, I want to see what you guys have to say, so I'm going to take a couple
there we
minutes
are.
to answer some questions. I know this is a longer video for sure, but when we're talking about an EV9, we got 3 rows, we got so much tech, we have so much to cover, it's hard to do that in a short video.
Well, we made a commitment in 2015, 2016 that we were going to be the experts on EVs. And we had a bunch of Souls out, and at that time, a Soul was lucky to have a 199 kilometer range. But we had those cars out to customers in 2015 and 2016. Fast forward 10 years, this is what we're getting today with our EV6, EV9, and then the ladies did great video in New York City on some of the. No, it was really good content. When you think about EV3, EV5, some of the other things that are coming towards us, EV6 is a great seller for us as well.
Yeah.
And we actually drive the cars on a day-to-day basis here, so kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's a couple questions I want to go through. So Adele asked if this price is already tariffed. This vehicle is built in Korea.
Right, no
So,
tariffs.
No tariffs.
We should probably talk about tariffs too, shouldn't we, or
We
shouldn't
have
we
done
not?
a podcast about that
Okay,
already.
so we'll do a
Tim
podcast.
doesn't listen to a podcast.
I
Tim
don't-
doesn't even watch the channel.
I try not to watch the channel as much, so. But my wife loves Gabi, so she has some weird content about Canada geese and, what'd you call it? What was the Canada goose video?
Oh, Cobra chicken.
Yeah.
I work at Cadillac GM and the prices are insane for SUVs. Yeah, SUVs are crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Tim and Gabby. Soul, is there any in the background? Woohoo! Yes, so we got a 2016 Kia Soul right to our side. Fun fact, this actually also came in EV. So this generation, but also the generation after. We had Soul EV, 2 different range options. Pretty cool car.
Yeah, we sold it as a used car. Came back to us, so pretty exciting. We still sell them as used. Unfortunately, we're finished on the new car side, so it's a sad day.
So would you take that Soul over the EV9? I would, just because it has racing stripes. Tim, move over a little bit. Check that out.
They're at the front and on the hood as well.
Got to pay extra for that.
Pretty exciting.
All right, you guys, that's probably it for today's live stream car review. Again, it's chaotic, but is it really a Kia Hyundai channel video if it isn't? Let us know in the comments. We hope to see you again next week. Starting Monday, we'll be back to 2 p.m. live streams, and who knows what we'll film that day. Seriously, who knows, because I don't. Bye, you guys.
See ya. Thank you.